Welcome, dear friends. Welcome to the third chapter of our story. Tonight, we turn another page in a tale that stretches across many nights. A story of ancient Egypt, where pyramids rise toward the sky, temples hum with the secrets of pharaohs, and the Nile flows with the rhythms of a civilization long past. Tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what hour of the night keeps you company. It's always a marvel to know that these words travel across oceans and time zones. If you enjoy these journeys, please let us know in the comments which story you would like to hear next. If you are ready, dim the lights, let the world around you fade away, and allow yourself to drift into the timeless embrace of history. The Nile flowed silently beneath the moon, its dark waters reflecting the stars in a trembling mirror. Across its banks, the village slept, but in the temples, flickering torchlight illuminated a different world. A place where life and death converged, where the living prepared to guide souls into eternity. Apprentices, priests, and laborers moved in solemn rhythm, their eyes reflecting reverence, fear, and awe. Ammonius walked through the temple's corridors, his footsteps muffled against polished stone. Today he would witness the sacred art of mummification for the first time. The priests were already at work, carefully anointing tables, spreading fine linens, grinding aromatic resins, and preparing the sacred natron for the preservation of flesh. Each movement was deliberate, precise, and laden with centuries of accumulated knowledge. At the center of the room lay a pharaoh's body, wrapped in linen yet already infused with ritual significance. Anubis, represented in the temple's carvings and prayers, watched invisibly, guiding the hands of priests. Each incision, each removal of organ, each washing was accompanied by chants to ensure the soul's safe passage to the afterlife. Apprentices observed, taking notes not only of technique, but of the sacred rhythm, understanding that mummification was a dialogue between mortal care and divine guardianship. Among the apprentices, Sephu, now matured from his experiences at the pyramid, stood tall yet reverent. Kim adjusted his robe nervously, eyes wide at the unfolding rites. Nefari approached the tables quietly, preparing aromatic oils, her hands steady as she worked in silence. Tarek, still young but eager, absorbed every detail, fascinated by the delicate interplay of life, death, and ritual. Each apprentice felt the weight of responsibility, knowing that the care of a body was a sacred act, a covenant between the living and the dead, between humanity and the gods. The priests chanted, their voices rising and falling in intricate patterns. They invoked Osiris, lord of the underworld, ensuring that the pharaoh would rise in judgment and immortality. Isis and Nephthys were called to guide and protect. Each organ was carefully removed and preserved, wrapped in linen, and set within canopic jars, each marked with the protective presence of the four sons of Horus. The apprentices traced every movement with awe, understanding that precision, faith, and imagination were inseparable in these sacred rites. Outside the temple, village life continued its quiet rhythm. Fishermen hauled nets, children ran along riverbanks, and women drew water for daily tasks. Yet even these mundane acts were connected to death and the afterlife. Offerings were prepared for ancestors, prayers whispered for protection, small amulets crafted to guard against misfortune. Life and death coexisted seamlessly, the mundane infused with sacred meaning, each action a link in the unbroken chain of human devotion and cosmic alignment. Days passed, and the work within the temple deepened. Apprentices learned to weave intricate linen wrappings, calculating layers to ensure both preservation and symbolism. Aromatic resins filled the air, their scents mingling with the Nile's river mist. Sephu struggled with the precision required, muscles stiff from lifting and wrapping. Yet with guidance, he found a rhythm, a connection to the sacred purpose of his labor. Kim's meticulous attention to detail ensured that every fold, every layer, every seal honored both the body and the soul. Nefari moved with quiet confidence, her hands guiding others. Tarek absorbing every lesson, eyes wide with fascination and reverence. Hidden chambers within tombs held secrets and mysteries. Ammonius discovered hieroglyphs warning of Set's interference, instructions for navigating the afterlife, and records of previous mummifications, personal notes of those who had labored faithfully. Each chamber revealed layers of human devotion, fear, hope, and imagination. The tombs were not merely resting places. They were libraries of faith, cosmic maps, and eternal guardians of memory. The apprentices were introduced to funerary architecture. They learned that tombs were carefully aligned with stars, the Nile, and the horizon. The walls were carved with spells and prayers, ensuring protection, guidance, and immortality. Each stone, each carving, each chamber was designed to preserve the pharaoh's journey beyond death and to reflect human ingenuity and harmony with divine order. One evening, as torches flickered against painted walls, Ammonius observed a vision. The pharaoh walked corridors lined with hieroglyphs. Priests performed secret rites. Anubis guided the soul through darkness, and Osiris waited in judgment. Stars aligned above the tomb, connecting cosmic rhythm with human ritual. The apprentices watched silently, understanding that death was not an end, but a transformation, a bridge to eternity, and that their labor preserved not only flesh, but memory, identity, and imagination. The village observed small rituals alongside the grand ceremonies. Families offered food, prayers, and amulets to honor ancestors and guide spirits. Children learned songs for protection. Women crafted charms to ensure safe passage for the deceased. The Nile itself became a witness to continuity, carrying life, memory, and prayer downstream. Life and death were inseparable, each action infused with sacred resonance. As the weeks progressed, the apprentices grew in skill and understanding. Sephu, once impulsive, now moved with reverent precision, appreciating that strength alone was insufficient. Kim became a teacher to younger apprentices, guiding them with patience and wisdom. Nefari's steady hands and quiet confidence became a model for all. Tariq, still young, absorbed lessons like a sponge, fascinated by the delicate balance of ritual, faith, and practical skill. Together, they embodied the human thread woven through sacred labor, life, and death. The final steps of mummification were profound. Linen was carefully folded, amulets placed, prayers recited. The pharaoh's body became a vessel of eternity, preserved for judgment, resurrection, and immortality. Apprentices witnessed the culmination of centuries of accumulated knowledge, understanding that human devotion, divine blessing, and imagination were inseparable. Ammonius reflected on the continuity between pyramid construction and mummification. Both were acts of devotion, blending human labor with cosmic order. Both were guided by the gods, sustained by rituals, and enriched by imagination. The desert, the river, the stars, and the Nile's flowing waters bore witness to these acts, eternal and silent, carrying memory, faith, and human aspiration across centuries. Night fell over the temple, torches flickering against painted walls. Visions returned to Ammonius, pharaohs walking through hieroglyph-lined corridors, priests performing secret rites, Anubis guiding the faithful, Osiris judging hearts, Isis offering protection. The apprentices, tired yet reverent, lay beside the Nile, absorbing the lessons of life, death, and cosmic order. Dreams and reality intertwined, a tapestry of memory, devotion, and imagination, as eternal as the river and stars. The sun had barely risen over the Nile, yet the temple bustled with activity. Apprentices carried jars of natron, their arms trembling under the weight. Sephu, older now, moved with a mixture of strength and reverence. Kim meticulously recorded measurements of linen folds and organ placements. Nefari, calm as ever, guided younger apprentices, her voice a steady rhythm against the temple's ambient hum. Even Tariq, once wide-eyed and tentative, now executed precise movements, understanding that every gesture carried both practical and sacred weight. The pharaoh's body lay in the central chamber, surrounded by priests chanting invocations to Osiris, Anubis, and Thoth. Each organ, carefully removed and preserved, would journey with the soul into eternity. The apprentices marveled at the balance between technical skill and ritual significance. One misstep could imperil the body's preservation, the soul's journey, or the divine blessing meant to safeguard both. Hidden chambers within the tomb revealed further layers of mystery. Ammonius, torch in hand, traced hieroglyphs that spoke of previous burials, warnings against Set's interference, and secret paths known only to priests. He discovered small carvings of laborers' names, their prayers, and occasional sketches depicting events of their lives. Tiny human narratives preserved alongside divine instruction. Every corner of the tomb seemed alive, whispering secrets across centuries. In the village, life continued in tandem with the temple's sacred work. Women baked bread and wove linen, offering portions to ancestors in simple but heartfelt ceremonies. Children played near the Nile, singing songs that mimicked the chants of priests, learning devotion and continuity through play. Farmers tilled fields, offering first fruits to the gods. Even the mundane, water drawn from the river, reeds collected from mats, grain ground into flour, became ritual, linking human labor to cosmic order and divine favor. As the mummification progressed, apprentices faced unexpected challenges. A sudden misalignment in linen wrapping required delicate adjustment. Sefu's initial impatience caused a minor tear, threatening to compromise the sacred preservation. Kim intervened, guiding his hands with patience, teaching that skill without humility was incomplete. Nefari quietly offered support, while Tarek watched intently, absorbing the lesson that mastery was as much about respect and focus as it was about strength or intelligence. One day, the temple received a noblewoman's body for mummification. The rituals differed slightly, emphasizing fertility, protection, and ancestral guidance. Apprentices adapted quickly, learning to honor the subtle variations in tradition. The process revealed layers of human belief, that life, death, and memory were inseparable, that care, precision, and imagination could preserve identity and essence beyond mortal existence. At night, Ammonius wandered the temple corridors, torchlight casting long shadows on painted walls. He imagined the pharaoh walking through labyrinthine passageways, priests performing secret rites, Anubis guiding the soul through darkness, and Osiris awaiting judgment. Stars above aligned with tomb entrances, corridors, and sarcophagi, reflecting human effort, cosmic rhythm, and divine intent. He sensed that every prayer, every stone, every fold of linen was a thread in a vast tapestry connecting earth, sky, and eternity. Apprentices grew closer, their bonds forged in labor, ritual, and shared reverence. Sefu, once impulsive, became a model of controlled strength. Kim's meticulousness guided others, teaching patience and observation. Nefari's quiet authority inspired confidence, showing that devotion was as vital as skill. Tarek, still young, evolved into a perceptive observer and careful practitioner. Together, they embodied the human thread interwoven with sacred labor, cosmic alignment, and divine guardianship. The apprentices were then introduced to funerary architecture in greater depth. They learned that tombs were aligned not only with stars but with the Nile and horizon, a reflection of cosmic order in stone. Walls were carved with spells and prayers, ensuring protection, guidance, and immortality. Apprentices witnessed secret chambers designed to mislead intruders, intricate passages reflecting celestial maps, and sarcophagi carved to honor both the physical body and the eternal soul. Each chamber revealed a dialogue between human ingenuity, divine guidance, and spiritual continuity. Village festivals intertwined with the mummification process. During harvest, families offered food and prayers to honor ancestors and ensure protection for the deceased. Children performed dances, women prepared symbolic offerings, and men recited hymns. Even minor gods, those who governed hearth, river, and fertility, were invoked, connecting the local with the eternal. The Nile reflected the moonlight, carrying stories, prayers, and devotion downstream, weaving continuity between human action and divine order. Challenges persisted in the temple. The preservation of multiple bodies required coordination, precision, and patience. Apprentices adapted to unexpected difficulties, jars breaking, resins spilling, linen tearing. Each crisis became a lesson in resilience, focus, and devotion. Sefi's confidence deepened as he learned that failure was part of mastery. Kim's guidance strengthened, teaching apprentices that leadership was as much about patience as knowledge. Nefari continued to inspire quiet confidence, while Targ's curiosity matured into skilled observation and thoughtful action. As the final layers of linen were applied, priests invoked Osiris, Isis, and Anubis, blessing the pharaoh, noblewoman, and all who had labored faithfully. Amulets were placed strategically, prayers whispered, and ceremonial oils anointed each fold. The tombs now became vessels of eternity, reflecting human care, divine blessing, and cosmic alignment. Apprentices observed the culmination of centuries of knowledge, understanding that life and death, labor and ritual, skill and imagination were inseparably bound. Ammonius reflected on the continuity between pyramid construction and mummification. Both were acts of devotion, labor, and cosmic synchronization. The pyramid had preserved memory, skill, and ambition in stone. The tomb preserved flesh, identity, and essence in ritual. Both were bridges between mortal effort and eternal order, human creativity and divine intent. The desert, the Nile, the stars, and the sands bore witness, eternal and silent. Night enveloped the temple. Visions returned to Ammonius. Pharaohs walking torchlit corridors, priests performing secret rites, Anubis guiding the faithful, Osiris judging hearts, and Isis offering protection. The apprentices, exhausted yet reverent, rested beside the Nile, contemplating the delicate balance between life and death, human effort and divine design. Dreams merged with reality, a tapestry of memory, devotion, and imagination, as eternal as the river and the stars. Weeks passed. Apprentices completed their tasks with skill and reverence. Villagers continued rituals, offerings, and daily life, reflecting the seamless integration of human labor, faith, and cosmic order. Hidden chambers were explored further, revealing glyphs of protection, instructions for navigating the afterlife, and stories of those who had labored faithfully. Each discovery deepened the understanding that mummification was more than preservation. It was storytelling, devotion, and guardianship across generations. The final ceremonies approached. Torches flickered, incense spiraled into the air, priests chanted in harmony. The pharaoh's sarcophagus was sealed, adorned with protective symbols, amulets, and prayers. The apprentices watched, transformed by the months of labor, observation, and reverence. The tomb, silent yet radiant, became a vessel of eternity, a testament to human devotion, divine blessing, and imagination preserved across time. The Nile reflected the moonlight, the desert cooled, and the stars glittered above. Apprentices matured, villagers celebrated, and Ammonius understood the unbroken chain of human effort, ritual, and cosmic order. The tombs, the temple, the village, and the river, the entire landscape, breathed continuity, memory, and eternal guardianship.